Hey guys, I'm going to work out your Unit 1 test review for you. Please don't watch this entire video. It's going to be long because it's a long review. Just fast forward to the problems that you need help with. So first of all, we're going to determine if each of these statements are true or false. So it's easiest if I highlight it on here. That does not mean to highlight it on yours because I can easily erase my highlight because I'm digital. It would be a whole lot harder for you to erase yours. So points B, A, and H. B, A, and H are collinear. If it just asks B and A, yes, those do lie on the same line, but H is super far away, so they are not on the same line, so that one is false. Because they are non-collinear. Points A, F, and H are coplanar. So you have to think about this as like a box. So if you have an Amazon box, this is the left-hand side of that box. And so A and F are on the same plane. And F and H are on the same plane, like the bottom of the box. And the front of the box, A and H, are on the same plane. But they are not all three on the same plane. Every single time that I highlighted that, one of those letters was left out. So they are not coplanar. They have to all be on the same plane for that to happen. So this is false. And they are non-coplanar. And it says plane ABC. So let's see, where's plane ABC? A is here, B is here, and C is here. So that means the top of our box. That's our top. Plane ABC intersects plane AIG. So where's A, I, and where's G? Okay, so this is like if you stuck a piece of paper from diagonal to diagonal on the inside of the box. Like that. And it says that it intersects at the line AC. So because of the way that it's highlighted, you can actually see that this line right here is where they touch each other. This part is like you looking through the lid. So that isn't actually where they touch. It's the line. So if you had a diagonal piece of paper stuck from corner to corner inside the box, that top of the paper would touch the top of the lid, and that top of the paper creates just a straight line right there at AC. So this one is true. Okay, next, EF. Where's EF? Intersects EG. Where's EG? Oops, right there. Ooh, oh no, sorry. When I touch my button on my pen, things erase. EG, at point E. And you can see this. The pink line and the yellow line touch right on point E. So this one is true. Okay, next one. Points B, C, D, and J. B, C, D, and J are non-coplanar. So B, C, and D are coplanar to the lid of the box, the top of the box, but J is on the bottom of the box. So that's absolutely right. They are non-coplanar. In other words, they're not all on the same plane. So this one is also true. Points A, I, and C are non-collinear. So A, I, and C are all on this line, and this says it's non-collinear when they are collinear. They're all on this diagonal. Like if you had a closed box and on the lid you drew a line from corner to corner diagonally, A, I, and C are all on that line. So this is false because they are collinear. They're all on the same line. R, where's R? Oh, it's telling me. Is between Q and T. Oh, this has nothing to do with that picture, does it? Nope, it doesn't. Sorry. R is between Q and T. So let's draw that. It's always a good idea to draw these things out. So R is between Q and T. And then it tells you that QR is 14. So this is 14. And that RT is 5. I kind of drew this wrong, but again, they're all sketches. They're never drawn a scale. Then what is QT? So how long is this whole thing? So that's just 14 plus 5, which is 19. Find the distance between the following points and leave it in the radical. Okay, so we're going to need to use our formula. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So it's easier if I kind of highlight these things. So this is x, y, x, y. x2 will go here, x1 will go here, y2 will go here, and y1 will go here. And we'll fill it in and then solve it from there. x2 is 4 minus x1 is 2 squared plus y2 is negative 3 minus y1 is 3 squared. And the only reason I don't do the top of the square root is because I don't know how long I'm going to need it. So I always draw it at the very end. Parentheses first. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And then negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6. Now we do exponents. 2 squared is 4. Negative 6 squared is negative 6 times negative 6, which is a positive 36. And then the square root of, 4 plus 36 is the square root of 40. All right, so then you can also reduce this more. On the test, I'm just going to say to leave it like this. Leave it as a square root of 40. But remember that 40 is the same thing as 4 times 10, which means that it's the same thing as the square root of 4 times the square root of 10, and the square root of 4 is 2. So both of these are the answers, but on the test, you're going to leave it like this. And in fact, you're going to, because it's typing, you won't have a square root. You're actually going to write it like this. They're going to type that because it's going to be a digital test since we're all online. Next one. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Highlight them. And then fill those in and solve. x2 is 2, x1 is 5, x2 is 3, x1 is negative 3. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. 3 minus a negative 3 is the same thing as 3 plus 3, which is 6. Negative 3 squared is negative 3 times negative 3, which is a positive 9. Negative 6 squared is 36. I'm sorry, not negative. 6 squared is 36. Got a little excited about all the negatives. And then 9 plus 36 is 45. And again, on the test, you'll leave it like this. In fact, you'll write this on your test would be your answer. But it can be reduced, and you will be expected to do this later. So just remember that 45 is 9 times 5, which means it's square root of 9 times square root of 5. And the square root of 9 is 3. So both of these are really the answers. Find the fractional distance from A to B. So since it's from A to B, this is the way what you do. So you always go the starting number plus your fraction, which is going to be multiplied times your difference. So we can do x2 minus x1. And since we're starting with A, it's really x1 plus whatever that fraction is. So this is kind of like your formula. And then your y's are done the same way. You would do y1, because that's my A, plus your fraction times your y2 minus y1. Okay, so my first x is 2. My fraction is 2/5. My second x is 12 minus my first x is 2. So we need to do parentheses first, always. 12 minus 2 is 10. Multiply the fractions. 2 times 10 is 20. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. So our x value for that fractionally distant point will be 6. y1 is 4, plus my fraction is 2/5. y2 is 19, minus y1 is 4. And again, if you need me to highlight, I can do that too. This is my y1. Oops, I didn't mean to highlight that minus. And then this is my y2. So that's where I'm getting all that from. And then plus your fraction, which is over here. Okay, parentheses first. 19 minus 4 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. 30 divided by 5 is 6. And 6 plus 4, my y value is 10. So that means my point that is 2/5 from A to B would be at 6, 10. And again, you do whatever your x1 is, plus your fraction, and then x2 minus x1. So again, if you need me to highlight, x1 is here, also this x1. My fraction is here, and then my x2 is here. So I'm going to fill all that in. -2 plus my fraction is 1/3. 7 minus a -2. So -2 plus 1/3. 7 minus a -2, 7 plus 2, which is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And -2 plus 3, that means my x value is 1. So now we'll do the same thing again, but with our y's. And in fact, I'm going to erase all the highlights so I can use these highlighters again because I'm already using 3 colors. So my Y1s, oh, these are supposed to be Ys. I wrote them as X's, sorry. There we go. Okay, this is my Y2. This is my Y1. So Y1 is 0 plus my fraction, no, I didn't highlight that, is 1/3. Y2 is 11 minus my Y1, which is 0. 11 minus 0 is 11. 1 times 11 is 11. So that means that 0 plus 11/3, my Y would be 11/3. So my final point, that is 1/3 the distance from A to B, would be at 1 and 11/3. All right, now we're finding midpoint. Remember, midpoint is the average of your x's and then the average of your y's. So my x's are 2 and 6, and then my y's are 4 and 6, and we're just taking the average of those. 6 plus 2 is 8. 4 plus 6 is 10. And then simplify that. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So our midpoint would be at 4, 5. Again, averages. So my x's are 6 and -2. And then my y's are 6 and 2. 6 plus a -2 is 4. 6 plus 2 is 8. And then simplify. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, so now you're given an endpoint and a midpoint. So find the other endpoint. So the easiest way to do that is to do your x's and your y's separately. And then put your answers together at the end. So normally we add our x's together, divide by 2, and that gives us with our x value for our midpoint. So we're just going to focus on our x's for now. Endpoint and midpoint. So we can call this our x1 and solve for x2. It honestly doesn't matter because you would end up with the same either way. And this one is the x value midpoint. So x1 is -5 plus we are trying to find x2 divided by 2 is equal to that midpoint x, which is 1. To get that 2 out of a denominator, you multiply both sides by 2. These cancel. You end up with -5 plus x squared is equal to 1 times 2 is 2. I'm going to move this over here because I've now run out of room. Now you add 5 to both sides. These cancel. So my x2 is 7. And then my next one, y1 plus y2 divided by 2 is equal to the y value of my midpoint. So now I have my y1. That's actually a -4, and I kind of cut it off, so I'm going to fix that. Sorry. And then the y value of my midpoint. So -4 plus, we don't know what y2 is. That's what we're finding, is equal to -5. Multiply both sides times 2 to get rid of that. -4 plus y2. -5 times 2 is -10. And again, I ran out of room. Add 4 to both sides since it's negative. And that means that my y2 is -6. So now we take both of these and we make our other endpoint. So our other endpoint is at 7, -6. We have another one of those problems. So this time I'm not going to write the equation, I'm just going to work it. So we have one of our x's, plus we're trying to figure out our other x, is equal to the x of our midpoint, which is -1. So that's, this 2 is here, and this -1 is here. I can draw arrows, sorry. All right, multiply both sides times 2. That gives me with 2 plus x is equal to -2. Then I subtract 2 from both sides, and x is -4. Now we got to deal with our y's, which our endpoint is 6 and our midpoint is 8. So 6 plus y divided by 2 is 8. Multiply by 2 to get the 2 out of the denominator. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract 6 on both sides. And y is 10. So our other endpoint is -4, 10. All right, if angle A is congruent to angle B, and the measure of angle A is this, and the measure of angle B is this, find the measure of angle A. So congruent is just a fancy way to say that they're equal. So we set them equal to each other and solve. So 4x minus 7 equals 3x plus 3. All right, sorry, my computer was dying. I need to go plug it in real quick. So 4x minus 7 is equal to 3x plus 3. We're going to subtract 3x from both sides to try to get all the x's on one side. This cancels. 4x minus 3x is x. And I've run out of room. Add 7 to both sides. The 7's cancel. And 7 plus 3 is 10. But it did not ask for 10. It did not ask for x. It asked for the measure of angle A. So this is the one way geometry will kill you. You have to make sure that you look at what it's asking for. It didn't ask for x, so we have to plug it back in to figure out the measure of angle A. So 4x minus 7, the measure of angle A, 4 times 10 minus 7. 4 times 10 is 40 minus 7, which means that the measure of my angle A is 33 degrees. Next problem, we have vertical angles. The only way that you can approach these types of problems is identify what type of angle it is first. These are vertical angles. They also kind of look like a bow tie whenever you see them, and they are always congruent. Which means we're going to set them equal to each other. So 3x plus 10 is equal to 2x plus 15. Subtract 2x from both sides. Gives us x plus 10 is equal to 15. Subtract 10 from both sides. And that means that x is 5. But let's make sure that's what it asked for. It isn't. It asked for the measure of angle 1, which is this top angle. So in order to do that, we need to actually find what one of these side angles are, either this one or this one, and then we can find that top one. So let's plug it back into one of the originals. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose this one just because I don't have a good reason. So 2 times 5 plus 15. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 15. That's 25 degrees. So that means that this side is 25 degrees and this side is 25 degrees. But angle 1 and the 25 degrees, that's a supplementary angle or a linear pair, whichever way you want to call it. Which means that to find the measure of angle 1, we subtract 25 from 180. So my measure of angle 1 is 155 degrees. Okay, so we have an angle of RSU. So let's draw it. Always draw your angles first. R, S, and U. And the R and U can flip-flop, but the S, because it's in the middle, must be the vertex. So make sure that you always put that middle letter in the vertex. And then it says that ST is a bisector. So there's going to be a ray going off this way, and this is T. And both of these, because it's a bisector, will be congruent. So RST is 5 times x minus 8. And then TSU is 5x divided by 3. And we need to set them equal to each other. So 5 times x minus 8 is equal to 5x divided by 3. Go ahead and distribute those parentheses first. That's 5x minus 40 is equal to 5x divided by 3. Now we're going to multiply both sides times 3 to get that to go away. Distribute. 3 times 5x is 15x. 3 times 40 is 120. And then only 5x is left on this side. I'm going to rewrite this again. Now, we need to get all the x's to one side, but I don't like dealing with negatives. So I'm actually going to move this 5x, which means that this is going to be equal to 0. So 15 minus 5 is 10x, minus 120 is equal to 0. Then add 120 to both sides. That means that you end up with 10x is equal to 120. Divide by 10. And x is 12. Make sure that that's what you're finding. Is x what we were trying to find? No, we were trying to find RSU, which is the entire angle. So what you can do is pick one of these. It doesn't matter which one, either this one or this one, and multiply it times 2, because both angles are going to be the same. I'm going to choose this one, just because I don't have to deal with 2 sets of parentheses if I choose that one. So I need 2 to be multiplied times the whole thing. So I sub in 12 for x, so 5 times 12. So 12, there we go, divided by 3. So bring our 2 down. 5 times 12 is 60 divided by 3. 60 divided by 3 is 20. And 2 times 20 is 40 degrees. That's our final answer. All right, M is the midpoint of AB. So let's draw it. Always, always draw it. A, B. M is the midpoint. If AM, so this side is 2y plus 6, and MB is 5y divided by 2, find the length of AB. So because M is the midpoint, they are equal to each other. So 2y plus 6 is equal to 5y divided by 2. Let's get that 2 out of the denominator by multiplying both sides by 2. 2 times 2 is 4y. 2 times 6 is 12. Move the 4y over because I don't want to have to deal with negatives. So that means that 12 is y, because 5 minus 4 is just 1. Now we need to plug it back in. You can choose. You could plug the 12 back into both of these y's and add all that together if you want. The easiest way, though, because they're both the same length, is to choose one and multiply it times 2. So 2 times 2y plus 6. So 2 times 2, and then my y is 12, plus 6. 2 times 12 is 24 plus 6, which is 2 times 30, which means that AB is 60. All right, find x and y. So first of all, you want to find things with the same variables. So this is an x and this is an x, which are all of this. So if you look, that makes a linear pair, which means that they will add to be 180. The very first thing you have to do anytime you're given a picture is decide what type of angle it is. So for the x's alone, which is all I'm focusing on right now, is the linear pair. So you're going to add them both together. And set them equal to 180, because that's what a linear pair is. Combine like terms. 8x minus 20 is equal to 180. Add 20 to both sides. 8x is equal to 200. Divide by 8. And x is 25. So now that we know what x is, we can figure out what y is. But we have to do one more step first. Because y, we've got to use this angle. And so you can have a choice. You can either plug in 25 to this and figure out what that angle is, add them together and set them equal to 180. But honestly, the easier way is to plug 25 into this one and set them equal because they're vertical angles. So you could do it either way. Both ways are perfectly fine. I'm going to do it the vertical angle way though. Again, the first thing you want to do is identify the angle pair, and that's how you know how to set it up. So I'm going to plug it in. So 6, and instead of x, I'm going to put in 25 minus 11. So that's my angle on the left, and it's going to equal my angle on the right. 6 times 25, what's 6/4? That's $1.50, so 150. Minus 11 is equal to 20y plus 19. 150 minus 11 is 139. So we know that this is 139 degrees. This one is also 139 degrees, which is why 20y plus 19 is 139 degrees. Let's subtract 19 from both sides. That cancels. 139 minus 19 is 120. Divide both sides by 20. And that means that y is 6. So x is 25 and y is 6. All right, so we know that we have an angle. I'm going to draw it over here on the right because I have more room. ABC. Remember, A and C can flip-flop, but B must always be the vertex because that's what this middle letter is. And it says D is in the interior somewhere. D of ABC. So ABD is 3x plus 4, and CBD is 4x minus 14. And then at the very beginning, it tells you that the entire thing is 130 degrees. So that means that this is an angle addition. We add them both together and set them equal to 130. Oops, minus 14. It's equal to 130. 4x plus 3x is 7x. 4 minus 14 is minus 10. Add 10 to both sides. 7x is equal to 140. Divide 7 from both sides. X is 20. All right, then where are we supposed to find x? What it's asking is BD, so BD is this middle line, is it a bisector of ABC? We don't know unless we plug it back in to see if both of them are the same. So we're going to have to plug it back into both. So 3 times 20 plus 4 and 4 times 20 minus 14. And let's see if they're the same. 3 times 20 is 60 plus 4 is 64 degrees. It's this one. 4 times 20 is 80 minus 14 is 66 degrees. So no, it is not a bisector because both of those angles are not the same. All right, angle 1 and 2 are supplementary angles, which means that they add to be 180. So if the measure of angle 1 is 4x and the measure of angle 2 is 8x, they add to be 180. Then find the measure of those angles. 4 plus 8 is 12x. Divide by 12 on both sides. And x is 15. So the measure of angle 1 is 4 times 15, which makes it 60 degrees. And the measure of angle 2 is 8 times 15. And the measure of angle 2, 8 times 15 is 120 degrees. There you go. 3 and 4 complementary. Remember, complementary is 90 degrees. So 3 is x plus 24 plus angle 4 is x, so x is 90. X plus x is 2x. Subtract 24 from both sides. $66. So 2x is equal to 66. Divide by 2. And x is 33. So we need to plug them back in to figure out what the angle measures are. The measure of angle 3 is 33 plus 24, which means the measure of angle 3 is 57 degrees. And then the measure of angle 4 is just x, which means that it's 33 degrees. Two angles form a linear pair, which means they add to be 180. If the angles are 4x minus 20 and x, what is the measure of the angles? So 4x plus x is 5x, minus 20 is 180. Add 20 to both sides. 5x is equal to 200. Divide by 5 on both sides. X is 40. And it says, what is the measure of both angles? So 4 times 40 minus 20. 4 times 4 is 160. 160 minus 20 is 140. And the other one is just x, which is 40 degrees. LKM is a right angle, which means it's 90 degrees. Oops, sorry. Remember, L and M can switch, but K always has to be at the vertex because it's in the middle. Point X is in the interior. And a ray is drawn from K through X. MKX is 4x minus 2, and XKL is 2x plus 20. Find the value of x. So we add them both together. 2x plus 20 plus 4x minus 2, and they equal 90 since it's a right angle. 2x plus 4x is 6x. 20 minus 2 is 18. Subtract 18 from both sides. 72. Divide both sides by 6. And x is 12. And this one actually did just say find the value of x, so we're done with that one. All right, this one says find the value of xy and the length of RU if S is the midpoint of RT. So let's go ahead and draw that. And S is the midpoint of it. And then it says T is the midpoint of RU. So right now what that means is that this is the same as this one, but all of this is the same as this one. So now let's fill in with the equations. RS is 2x plus 3. ST is 4x minus 1. And then TU is 3y plus 5. So we're going to focus on just yellow first. So first of all, with the yellow, they're going to be equal to each other. In other words, just the x's are going to be equal to each other. So we have 2x plus 3 is equal to 4x minus 1. Subtract 2x from both sides. 3 is equal to 2x minus 1. Add 1 to both sides. 3 plus 1 is 4. These cancel, so just 2x is left. Divide by 2. And x is 2. Now we can deal with the pinks by themselves. It did say to solve for x, so we have that. Now we just need to deal with the pinks. So the pinks are congruent. So what I need to do is to figure out how much all the yellow is together and set that equal to this side because the pinks are equal. All of the yellow is equal to this side. Oops. This side of the pink. So we're going to plug it back in, and it doesn't matter which one of these you plug it back into, which one of the yellows, because you just double that. So I'm going to choose the first one just because it has littler numbers. That's really the only reason. Now that's only half of the yellow, and I need the whole yellow, so we're going to double that. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. And 2 times 7 is 14. So that means that RT is equal to 14. So now what we're going to do is set RT equal to TU. So in other words, the pink stuff. So RT is 14 and TU is 3y plus 5. Subtract 5 from both sides. 9 is equal to 3y. Divide by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So that's what my y is. Now we already saw that half of it, or RT, is 14. So to figure out RU, it's just 2 times 14, which is 28. And we're finally done with that problem. Okay. So we're dealing with this figure on the right. Find the value of x if the measure of FEG. So FEG, all of that, is 82. And then it says the measure of FEC. FEC is just this part. Is 5x plus 11. And it also tells us that EC is a bisector. So in other words, if this half is 5x plus 11, so is this one. They're both going to be the same. So we're going to double the 5x plus 11 and set it equal to the whole thing, which is 82. So the easiest thing to do is to divide by 2 to get rid of that. You could distribute also if you wanted to. It would just make your numbers bigger. This way, everything gets smaller, which makes it a little bit easier on me. Subtract 11. 5x is equal to 30. Divide by 5. And x is 6. All right, we're still using the same picture. So it says AED is 16y plus 10. Find the value of y so that ED is perpendicular to AB. So this, this should be 90 degrees. So in other words, we're just setting 16y plus 10 equal to 90. By the way, this means perpendicular. In other words, they're 90 degrees where they touch. All right, subtract 10 from both sides. 16y is equal to 80. Divide by 16. And y is equal to 5. And that's what we were looking for. All right. The next one is not using that picture. So if the measure of angle 1 is find the measure of angle 1 if angle 1 is complementary to angle 2. So in other words, they add to be 90 degrees. And then angle 2 is, okay. So the easiest thing for this to do is for me to draw it to you, for you. So we have 90 degrees and angle 1 and angle 2 are part of that. And then it says angle 2 is a linear pair with angle 3. So they have to add to be 180. So in other words, this one's angle 3. So if 3 is 114, to find angle 2, we subtract it from 180. Sorry, my son is bugging me. So the measure of angle 2, you subtract it from 180. Measure of angle 2 is 66 degrees. So that's one of the things we need to find it. And then to find 1, because those are complementary, we subtract it from 90. Which is 24 degrees. All right, so two angles, angle 1 and 2 are supplementary. So that means they'll equal 180. One is the acute angle, so like that. What type of angle is 2? So if 1 is acute, it means the littler one. 2 is the opposite, which is angle 2 is obtuse. And that's the end of your notes, end of your review. Make sure that you go back and you look at all the vocabulary as well. That's super important on your test. You need to know what things are. So make sure that you understand all that vocabulary.